Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Come in, come in, come in. So this is Tamika's Den. I am Tamika, and this is a review for Power Book 4, Force, okay, Season 1, Episode 1. This is the one that I have been waiting for, okay? I'm so excited for Tommy's series to start, and so far this first episode was cute, okay? It just basically showed us Tommy, driving. He's driving all crazy. He's getting flashes of a whole bunch of different stuff. You hearing him tell his mother he got to get out of here. New York ain't safe for him no more. She's basically like, where else are you going to go? He's hearing her voice with her telling him, usually if anybody turns against him, it doesn't work out for good or, for him or them. And, he's seeing Keisha, he's seeing ghosts and him dying in his arms. He's seeing Raina, he's seeing people he killed. He's seeing other people that just got killed around him that he don't have anymore. And he's going through the motions. He's driving all crazy and basically zigzagging in the street. At one point, he turns the damn lights off and he's driving in the dark. Then he almost crashes and he's just like screaming and having his moment or whatever the case may be. And I have to say that I like this intro song too, okay? You can't deny it. 50 does his thing with these songs, okay? And so, we basically have him where, like I said, he's getting flashes of all the different people and, he's going through his motions and, you could just tell that Tommy is going to be crazy as he ever been and probably even crazier after, losing Ghost and going through everything that he has went through. And so at one point you could see that it says like Chicago in one direction and it says something else in the other direction. I didn't really pick up exactly what it said. But, basically by the time he stopped and where he turned at, that was the Chicago direction. So I don't know if he was already like intentionally planning on going to Chicago or if he's just supposed to have ended up there because of where the car stopped. But either way, he ends up in Chicago. So we first see him sitting outside this house. We don't know whose house this is. He's parked there and some guy basically comes up and is like, oh, you gotta pay me for this parking, but before that even happened, he got a call, and it was like somebody telling him that he was late. And we see that Tommy had flowers on the front seat, and he was like, "I'm just making a pit stop." And the person was telling him that he's wrong about him, and he basically was like, "Come on now, I always make shit happen, and I'm gonna do what I gotta do. I'm gonna be on time. Don't worry about it, and don't worry about where I'm at. When you see me on the Pacific Ocean, then you'll know, what I'm saying, that I'm there." And so we also see him take out this picture and look at it, and it has some kind of, writing on the back of it. And so I'm like, okay, Tommy, where you at? And so in the middle of him looking at the picture, like I said, here come this guy walking up talking about some, oh, you got to pay me as a parking fee. Nobody stops here without paying me. This is the Chicago parking sign, and there's like a chair there. It's a yellow chair for private parking and all this other stuff. The whole block is private parking. So Tommy, of course, is like, what the hell? Who the hell are you? And he talking about, I'm the tax man, and pulling out this little knife. And then Tommy basically lifts up his shirt and shows him the gun and was like, get out of here with that. And he was like, give me that damn knife. Give me that knife right now. And the guy's basically like, oh, man. And then he slaps the mess out of him. And he's like, yeah, it hurts even worse when it's cold, right? And so the guy's like, damn, man, that was unnecessary. I'm going to bounce because I don't have my strap. And Tommy like, yeah, you do that. He was like, but who, where's the lady buried that was living in this house? And he was like, what are you talking about? She ain't damn buried. He was like, buried? He was like, they moved her to Moorhorns. And he's like, well, what the hell is a Moorhorn? So then he goes over to Moorhorn, and basically we find out that is like a home or whatever, but we still don't know, who this person is. And Tommy goes walking in, he's looking all around, and we see that he sees a lady being pushed, in some kind of wheelchair past him, and he actually stops. So you can tell that he recognized the lady, but he doesn't say anything at that time. He's just basically looking and observing, looking all around the place, seeing how it is, and looking at her. And she basically looks like she's, out of it or whatever the case may be. Sorry, y'all, needed that simple. So she's looking like, she's out of it. He recognizes her immediately when the nurse comes, walking past with her, pushing her in the wheelchair. And so, after that, he just goes walking out. And so then we basically go to this prison and we meet this person, that's cutting hair, and he's saying to the CO, like, now picking up clippers, now doing this, now doing that. And the CO was basically like, okay. And he's cutting this old man's hair in the chair. And the old man is basically saying to him, like, soon you'll be out. And we find out that the guy's name is Samson. That's basically the inmate that's cutting the hair. And, he's like, excuse me, I won't see you anymore. And don't worry, I don't know why you taking so long. Just buzz around, And he's like, no, I got to make this cut last because you don't know the next time that I'm going to see you. And he was like, man, you're going to be gone. So it better not be no next time. You know what I'm saying? So we find out that I guess he's supposed to be getting ready to get out. And he was like, when that gate closed, don't you ever look back. And so then, like I said, everything he do, he announces it. So he basically says, CO Miller, raise her down. And then the CO repeats it. And then the old man is looking at his hair. And, he basically gets up and starts walking away. And, they like, back to your cell or whatever the case may be. And, Samson basically looks at him and was like, yeah, old man, I'm going to miss you too. And so then he walks off. And then we see the guy, Samson, just basically walking, I guess, to go back to his cell once he's finished with the haircuts. And he's passing some guys that's on the stairs. Everybody's looking. He's walking past. Excuse me. And we see Jay Moore. I don't know what the heck his name is in this. I guess we're going to find out more about him. But there's Jay Moore Reviews from YouTube, okay? He's actually in here, and he's the one that's in the wheelchair that basically says to the other inmates, once he gets out, then we're going to make the call. We're going to let him get comfortable on the outside, and then we're going to make the call. And so I'm interested to find out who he's supposed to be and, what he's going to be doing. And then they say, yeah. And so Tommy, at this point, walks into this bar. And, it's basically a black girl that's behind the, the bar, whatever, to make the drinks. And she's like, he asked for a double shot of Jameson or whatever the case may be. And she pours it for him. She looking because, of course, this when it's somebody new that's never been in there before. And he was saying that, the food smelled good. And she was like, that's pepper something soup. And he was like, ooh, nice. He was like, that's comfort food. And she's impressed because she basically says, most white people wouldn't know what that is. And they don't like it once they find out there's tripe in it. And so basically Tommy lets her know, I eat anything and everything, boo. And then she is like, oh, okay, interesting. And she pours him another shot. And so, basically he was making small talk with her saying, you look, because she had told him he looked like he had a long day, and she said it's only 11 a.m. And he was like, how would you know that? And she was like, I'm a bartender, I'm good at reading people. So he was basically asking her what else she know how to read. And she was like, signs and road signs and billboards, and I think she was like the shade room or something like that or whatever. And so he basically was like, oh, okay. So, he told her to give him some of that pepper soup. And she was like, well, the kitchen's not open yet, but, you could come back later tonight. And so, he's basically like, well, maybe another time then. And, in the meantime, she done poured him like 3 different shots. And so then we see the guy Samson being released out of jail. At one point, the guard is trying to buy some Jordans off of him that he came in with. He's saying he'll buy them for $150. And he's like, look, I know I've been in here for a minute, and I don't even know what the hell you talking about, because it was some damn Starks thing or something that he mentioned. He was like, I don't even know what that is, but I know damn well I could get more than 150 for these. And so the guard had actually gave him some, like the cutting razors that the barbers use. And he was like, this is a gift from us that we wanted you to have. And basically after he gave him those, he was like, it's not much. And Samson is basically like, wow, because they said it is something to just get him started. And so basically he was like, thank you. And he ends up leaving the damn sneakers there for him anyway and just walking out. And so he was like, keep them. I was like, shit, I would have took that 150, but okay. So when he gets out, his brother is waiting for him or whatever the case may be. And he comes and, of course they hugging and he like, yo, bro, I missed you. I haven't seen you in so long. He's like, you free now. And so, Samson actually bends down. There's like a puddle of water there. And he's touching the water with his hands. And, basically his brother is like, yo, y'all never seen rain and stuff inside there or whatever. And he was like, yeah, but this just hit different. And then he asking him, yo, what's up? Why you ain't got your sneakers on? Somebody got you? He's like, yo, what y'all doing? And he was like, nah, I gave them up. It's all good. And he was like, well, all I need is my freedom. And so, his brother tells him, well, you got that, so we good, let's roll. And I'm gonna think he was the older brother, and the guy that was picking him up was his younger brother. And so basically, he go ahead and get in the car with him or whatever the case may be, so they could be on their way out of there. So that was basically our introduction to him, right? We don't know exactly what role he's gonna play yet. And then we had, Tommy basically sitting outside the I think he was still like outside the bar or by the bar, and this car rolls up and the guy's telling him, hey, jack off, move your car. And he was like, yo, what the hell is it with the people in this damn city when they're parking? And he's like, go ahead, go around, keep it moving, you can park somewhere else. And then the guy's basically telling him like, I'm not gonna ask you again to move your car. And Tommy's like, so now I'm confused because it sounded like you just asked me again, whatever the case may be. And so the guy goes stepping out the car and was like, all right. And they acting like they ready to approach Tommy and do something to him. And one of the other guys in the back was like, yo, come on. We don't got time for this. We on a schedule. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are y'all doing? And basically they like, oh, well, this guy won't move his car. And, you know what I'm saying? Vic, go inside and do your job. And so they was like, this guy from Boston basically started it. And Tommy's like, Boston? And so basically they was like, what are you, 6 years old? They was like, go get out of here and go do your job. It's like an older man that's talking to the other two guys. And so he was like, we're on a schedule. And then he tells Tommy, can you please relocate your vehicle? And Tommy says, no problem. He was like, see, that's how you talk to people. Maybe you should have tried talking like that in the first place. And so basically, they all looking at Tommy. And then when Tommy goes to move the car, one of the other guys going to talk about F Larry Bird and F Tom Brady too. And, Tommy's still looking like, okay, what is that supposed to mean to me or whatever. So then we see this guy walking in and there's a girl sitting at his desk and he's basically saying, she tells him she thought he was in the city. Obviously it's her father. And he basically says, I see that, the way you all comfortable at my damn desk with my damn scotch, okay? He was like, and we found out her name is Claudia. And he's basically saying to her, you drinking my best scotch. What you doing, taking over? And so she's like, oh, no one could ever take over for you, Dad. And, he tells her that, no, he asked her where Vic is. And I'm assuming Vic is probably the one that we just met that was bothering damn Tommy. And she says he's with Uncle Paulie. And then basically he was like, where's the meat? And no, she asked where's the meat. And he was like, why would you want to know that? He was like, Victor's got it under control or whatever the case may be. And he was like, I depend on you or whatever to take care of things here. You do the books, and if the books are fine, they always fine, then that's all we need to be worried about. And she was like, yeah, the books is always fine. And he was like, well, that's why you're in charge of that. And she was like, well, you could depend on me to do more. And he was like, well, what else more am I going to depend on you on? She was like telling him Vic is not cut out for the work and you should at least, let me help him. And he was like, just because you could beat your brother at chess games, that don't mean that you're ready for the streets. And he basically tells her, come here, and he grabs her hands. And he's basically saying, like, who are you going to beat up with these hands? What are you supposed to do to some guy on the street? You know, what do you think you could do with these? How the hell do you throw punches with these? And so he's basically letting her know that, you know, that's why Victor doesn't do women's work. So according to him, women's work is, you know, doing the books. And he's basically like, you're a beautiful young woman. And you could tell that she's pissed off with that and she wants to do more than that, okay? And he's like, Victor runs the street, you keep us legit, and you look after me. That's your job. And so, like I said, she looks like she's just over it as far as that. Then we see Tommy again, and Tommy is standing back outside with the older gentleman that stopped the two young guys for going after him. And he was like, you know, basically giving Tommy a cigarette, saying, you know, I like the way you move. You seem like you smart. Tommy says things. He basically told him he respects that. And he was like, you know, I didn't catch your name. And Tommy was like, I didn't throw it, okay? And so I was like, Tommy is stupid. So he was telling him, you know, asking him rather, are you coming or going? And then Tommy said, definitely going. And he was like, well, that's probably a wise choice because you don't want to piss off the Flynn family, okay? So we found out that this is the Flynn family, and apparently they in charge of a lot of stuff in Chicago. And he's telling Tommy, you don't want to stick around. And so then we have, you know, Vic basically inside the bar. Looks like he's picking up money from the girl that Tommy was with. And he's basically obviously has some kind of relationship with the girl before, but she's telling him, look, you know, I don't want nothing with you. He's telling her, oh, we should go to Buffalo, give us a chance to talk. And she was like, talk about what? We already talked. Nothing is going to change. Like, what's the point? She was like, as long as you keep taking money from your father and he keeps pulling the strings, you know, there's nothing else to be said. And he's basically saying it don't matter about the money. And he was like, you know, give him a chance because he's about to make things change. You know, they always say that he's like, he got a plan. And when the time is right, that he plans on talking to his father about it. And he's basically like, I swear I'm ready. You know what I'm saying? I'm serious about this. And she's just basically like, you know, it's too late. And he was like, you know, tell me it's not too late. And she was like, I can't tell you that, Vic. I definitely cannot tell you that. And she just basically walks away from him. So we already know that's going to be a damn issue because obviously Tommy is interested in the damn girl too, okay? And she looked like she interested in him. But anyway, Vic takes the money, he puts it in his jacket, and he goes walking, and he tells, you know, the guy that was with him to keep an eye out, stay at the bar, that he needs him at the drop later. So the guy was like, listen, I stopped drinking 3 months back, I'm good. No, you know, he was telling him don't make sure nobody mess with her. He's like, all right. So he walks out. He comes out. He's still looking at Tommy stupid when he gets out. Tommy looking at him. He ain't about to back down. You know how Tommy is already. And Tommy looking at him like the other guy. And, you know, the older man is telling him again, like, whatever you thinking about, don't do it. It's not worth it. Just chill. And they both go walking, you know, getting ready to leave. And the old man comes up again and says, you know, wherever you going, make sure it's far away from here. And he shakes Tommy's hand and he tells him safe travels. So Tommy goes back inside the bar at this point, and he sees that the other guy that came in with you know, with the guy Vic is still there, and you know, the girl is saying to him like, oh, you came back, and he was like, yeah, y'all got some exceptional food. And she's basically pouring him rum, and he's like, I don't drink no damn rum. And she was like, well, tonight you do. And at the same time, the guy that Vic left there is getting into it with some girl. She's pushing him. She's telling him to get off his, you know, her face. She was like, every time you come in here with this bull crap. So she was basically asking the girl she was okay. And she was like, I was okay until this, you know, asshole came up to me. So she telling him, his name is Simon. She's like, well, why are you still here, Simon? What are you doing? If you're not getting food or drinks, you need to get out, you know. And he was like, oh, careful. Don't talk to me like that. She was like, I'll talk to you any way I want to. You nothing but an errand, you know, an errand boy. Then she goes back to Tommy or whatever, and he's asking if she's okay. You know, she's like, I'm fine. She shows him the menu. He's looking at the menu. She was like, oh, that's just for looks. You know, you basically get whatever I bring you to eat. And then he was like, okay. He throws the menu down. He's like, perfect. So he's waiting, and at the same time, he observes the guy getting up and going to the back. So here go Tommy. He basically follows him to the damn back, okay? And the guy's back there peeing, and then he's on the phone talking with somebody saying how it don't matter. You know, it could be either that they don't care or they worried about is that they make a deal and they do the split. And he was like, as long as the powder is white and we got our paper, that's the only difference that we care about. And he was like, yeah, tonight at 3 a.m. So the next thing you know, he turns around when he hangs up the phone and he's like, you know what? And before he could even say anything, Tommy just starts wailing on his behind, beating the mess out the damn guy. And you know, basically he have him laying on the floor bleeding. And you know, he was like, honestly, Tommy tells him, honestly, Tom Brady could eat a dick. He was like, but Larry Bird, that's a national treasure. So he puts his hand through the bar and the guy's like, you ain't gotta do this, you ain't gotta do this. And Tommy was like, oh yeah, I really feel like I do. And basically he stomps the damn guy on, and I guess probably broke it the way he hit that damn thing. And the guy's passed out on the ground. He takes his phone, he takes the money out his pocket. And so homegirl that was in the bar comes out back as well. You know, at the same time, Tommy's seeing a text that I guess is from the connects that the guys have. And she was like, ooh, that's going to cause you some blowback. And he basically was like, well, is it going to cause you blowback too? And she was like, you know, because he said he ain't going to be around long enough to catch it. And she was like, no, I'm good, you know, not a drop. And so he was like, okay, cool, good. That's all, you know, that I'm worried about. And then she tells him the soup is ready. Well, honey, the next thing you know, Tommy and her's in the bed getting it in, okay? So I guess that was the soup. I guess he eating that, all right? And they basically get it in, and then when they finish, they both talking about how good it was. You know, he sees some medals that, you know, is the medals they give you when you're in the military, and he's like, you served. And she was like, no, that was basically my husband, you know, and he died, that they didn't get a chance to be married long because he was saying, how's marriage? And he started getting flashes of Keisha and all of that kind of stuff. And she's basically like, I wasn't married long enough to tell, but I think if I would have had a chance, then it probably would have been a good thing and it would have lasted. She's like, what about you? And he says that he was close to it, but it didn't happen. And she said, well, it could always happen one day. And he basically was like, yeah, you never know, maybe. Then we see Claudia, you know, going out to hang. She's in a club, and they're telling her that this drink, you know, this shot is basically from his grandfather's thing in Moscow and is meant to be sipped. And she was like, not tonight. She basically threw back the whole shot and was like, I had enough of men telling me what to do for a lifetime. I ain't trying to hear what no men is saying tonight. And then there's some chick standing, you know, on the other side of the bar, and they like, who the hell is that? And they like, I don't know, I never seen her here before. And her and the girl basically look like they damn near about to get it in on the damn dance floor. And so she ends up taking her back to her house, and they end up getting it in there, okay? So I'm like, okay, you got Tommy getting it in with the girl, and you got her getting it in with the girl that she met at the club. So then, you know, you see Tommy seeing that the guy is getting a message from the connect saying that it's time to meet, where they gotta meet and all of that. So he tells the girl, like, I'm sorry, but I really gotta go. He gives her a kiss and he goes there, you know what I'm saying, to go to where they meeting at. And so, I'm sorry y'all, 1 minute. My daggone throat is like so itchy. So he goes to where the meat is supposed to be at. So and when he gets there, you know, the guy's basically, Vic is basically calling the guy, what was his name? I think it was Simon's phone. But of course, you know, he don't got it. Simon is beat up in the damn alley. Tommy got the phone. So he's hearing the phone ringing at the same time, and Tommy walks up, basically shoots 2 bullets in the damn windshield, and was showing him that he got the phone, like, don't try it. He was like, come on, let's go inside. You know, how many people are they expecting it to be inside? The guy's telling him they expecting 2 people. He's asking him, you know, how many of them is supposed to be. He's like, okay, good, then we will be even. You know, he's telling him don't move because he could basically shoot him and get rid of him at any minute, you know. And so he's like, you know, go ahead and open the gate because they in like one of those, you know, crate freight elevators or whatever that have the gate that you got to pull up. So when they walk out, is another guy there, which this guy basically looks like is Samson's younger brother, right? I don't think we got his name yet. But he's also there. And then there's these 2 young guys there that I guess are supposed to be the dealers. But they basically like, you know, who the hell are y'all? And why is somebody else's name that they kept saying, like, why aren't they here? They was like, you know, we was supposed to be here for the meet. And the guys is asking them, for the money, and while he has an extra person with him, excuse me, because he have Tommy with him, and they both trying to figure out why would they both be there at the same time and what's going on. And they was like, we was supposed to be meeting with Zabos or something like that. And they was like, well, why is CBI here? I guess CBI is the black guys clique. And they was like, basically the guy that Samson's brother's asking Tommy, who the hell are you and why are you there? So Tommy's telling them to cool it because these two young guys is like all over the place, acting real, excited. They got guns out and all of that. And so the guy from CBI is like, why are they here? I'm confused. What the hell is going on? Why would you have us come and have them come at the same time? And they asking them for the money. And they like, man, we ain't giving you no money till we get the product. And he was like, they trying to play us. And Tommy's basically like, you just figuring that out now. So he was like, listen, you boys are excited, put down the money, let's take care of business. And he's basically saying, Tommy's saying to damn Vic, like, do you got the money or not? And he talking about, oh, I got some of the money. And he was like, wait, you came short to do a damn deal or whatever the case may be. You don't got all the money. So he was like, where the hell is the money? And he was like, is this y'all first deal? Y'all never even did a deal before, did y'all? Tommy's basically calling them out on everything. And they talking about, oh, no, this not our first deal. We did deals before. And he was like, no, y'all basically breaking y'all cherries. Y'all never even tasted it to see if it's pure, did y'all? You got the bag right there. And did y'all make sure that it's not stepped on, that it don't have no lidocaine and all of that? So the guy talking about, we never even heard of lidocaine. And the next thing you know, these dumb young ass kids, they basically just start shooting. Tommy gets up with his two guns because the damn black guy from CBI, his gun done damn jammed when he called himself shooting back at them. So Tommy gets up and Tommy comes out and he just boom, 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 boom. One of the kids gone. The other kid still standing, I think, got one shot either to the arm or the leg or something. I think it was the arm. And he basically telling him, listen, I'm down to 4 bullets. Okay, and he was like, you gotta know your clip. This ain't no video game. Basically, that's what Tommy is saying to him. So he literally shoots him in the leg next and was like, now I'm down to 3. Shoots him in his other arm. Now I'm down to 2. And the boy is just laying on the ground. And he was like, you got one left. And the boy basically goes running off. And so, Tommy is like, I'll just say both of y'all lives or whatever the case may be. Y'all would have been messed up if I didn't take care of this for y'all. And so the guy, Vic is like, I could have handled it if I had my gun. So Tommy gives him the gun and was like, you got one left. He's sitting there pointing at that damn Tommy. And even the guy from CBI had to be like, listen, this ain't your man's, what's going on? He didn't come with you. And he was basically like, who the hell are you? And Tommy's telling him, I'm the one that saved y'all damn lives. That's who I am. And so he was like, at the end of the day, he did save our lives or whatever. He was like, but he can't tell me who you is. And this one, I don't trust. And he was like, they always shitting on CBI or whatever the case may be. So obviously CBI and the Flynn people have some type of beef that they already be back and forth with. And he was like, why don't y'all just, split it or whatever the case may be. And he was like, nah, because they would try to, pin it on CBI. And so Vic is saying he gives him his word that he can handle his father and all this other stuff. And Tommy's like, all of that is good, but I'm gonna need a fee, okay? Your gratitude that you would give me is my fee. And so, the CBI guy's telling him, well, you gonna have to go ahead and pay him. This ain't no time to play games. Of course, Vic is trying to say no. Tommy basically goes and picks up the whole bag. The CBI guy is still telling him, like, pay him. And Tommy takes the money and the bag. The CBI guy is telling him, hey, my man, that's my paper there, too. And Tommy basically zips up the bag and walks away. I was like, okay, Tommy, you already coming in and starting a whole bunch of damn mess. And so, basically both of them is pissed off, and Vic is talking about, oh, he a dead man. Like, please, Vic, you ain't do nothing yet, so I don't know how much a dead man he is. Then we have Samson, he's basically sleeping on the floor. He got a pattern on the floor. We see him. He's waking up. Next thing you know, he meets up with his brother and they walking outside to go, go on for a walk. He's saying how everything looks so different and how they used to run all of those streets and all of that other kind of stuff. And he's basically asking him how the whole situation went down with Tommy, how he was able to just run up on him. He's like, oh, so he just came out of nowhere and saved you or whatever the case may be. And he was like, well, my gun jammed. He was like, okay, your gun jammed and he saved you. He was like, but we don't know who he is or where he went. So he was like, no, we never seen him around here before. Nobody knows, you know what I'm saying, where he's at or where he went or where he came from. And he was like, well, first things first, we going to have to find out where his ass is at. And so he was like, yeah. So basically, you know, he was like, that's what's so confusing to him though, because why would they be dealing with the yardies and, you know, it's not adding up. And he was like, you know, that basically this just was a mess. And so then he takes him to a barbershop, and apparently this is a barbershop where they you know, grew up at and they got history at. The brother Samson is thanking him like, you know, thank you for keeping this barbershop open and paying the rent on it and all of that kind of stuff. And you know, he was like telling him he could paint the outside, he could change the name, and Samson is basically like, no, this is gonna stay exactly the way that it was. You know, this is where we was baptized at, this is where we was birthed at, this is where, you know, Chicago Brothers Incorporated was born, you know, which I guess that basically stands for CBI. So he was like, he's not changing nothing. And he tells him that he owns it, because he was like, what are you talking about, you know, that you don't got to pay no rent on it. He was like, you bought this, you own it. And he was like, nah, it's yours, I got it for you. And he throws the keys to him. And he was like, wow, man, thank you. Like, you know what I mean? He was like, now you could be a legit business owner, you could own this, you could do whatever you want to do. And Samson basically tells him that he's done with killing people, you know what I mean? He don't want that life no more. So I'm like, okay, Samson, we'll see. And then we have, you know, Claudia and Vic standing and talking, and she's telling him she's worried about him. You know, he's like, you're not mom, you don't have to worry about me or whatever the case may be. And she was like, yeah, I don't have to, but I still do. And if mom was still living, she would be worried about you too. And he basically tells her, you know, that he knows that or whatever the case may be. And, you know, he's telling her that he got it, he can handle it, he got everything under control, but we could already see that he doesn't. And he basically walks away, and then she's basically just, you know, looking like she's annoyed, like, yeah, okay, whatever. You definitely don't have it under control. You know, we also see Tommy sitting in the car checking on who the head of the CBI was, which was Samson. There's a picture of him saying how he served 15 years in jail. He's checking up the information on Flynn. We see, you know, Flynn, the father, coming up. And then he goes back to the nursing home, and he's actually walks up to the lady this time, and he's showing her the picture, and he's basically like, I can't believe it. You know, my mother told me that you was dead, and here it is, you know, I'm finding you alive. And he was like, it's me, Tommy. The last time that I saw you, I was 4 years old. And so she's basically like, looks up at the picture for a minute and starts to actually, you know, smile and seem like she recognizes him. And she's like, Tommy, but then she kind of goes back into the comatose state right after that. And he's telling her, yeah, it's me. And so then you seeing somebody following behind Tommy, and I'm figuring it's either Flynn guys or it's the CBI guys or something along them lines. And Tommy already holding on to the gun, getting ready to turn around on the person, you know, to find out why the hell they following him. And the person basically grabs him and was like, what the hell are you doing here? Nobody ever comes, you know, and see her in all these years. I've been the only one to come to visit, and what the hell, you know what I'm saying, are you here for? And he was basically like, you know, who the hell are you, and why the hell are you following me? What the hell of it is it any of your business? At this point, Tommy got his gun on him, and he was like, well, I'm his grandson. And Tommy's like, bullshit, I'm her grandson. You know, because he was like, why are you coming to see Miriam Egan? He was like, nobody's been here in 6 years. You know what I'm saying? So they both saying I'm the grandson, and the guy's black, you know, and Tommy's white. And I'm like, wait a minute, hold up, so who's this? So they go by the car and they start talking more, because Tommy has showed him a picture with this writing that was on the back and was like, what do you know about that? And then the guy lifts up his sleeve on his coat, on his jacket, and he got the damn same thing that it says on the back of Tommy's picture on his arm as a tattoo. He was like, what you know about it? So as they talking, they like, yo, this is a lot to process. He was like, yeah, for me too. He was like, yo, I never thought I would wake up today finding out I got a brother. So they are brothers. I'm like, what? So he was like, my pop said mom was dead. So I'm like, wait, Kate had a damn child and left the baby? What the hell is really going on? And he was like, and they never told me about you. Like, what the hell is this? He was like, my whole life has been a lie. So Tommy basically was like, here, take some of this. Basically, he had rolled up a blunt. And the guy talking about some no and mess with my voice. He was like, trust me, your damn voice ain't about to get any deeper. Take it. So the guy takes it and he takes a couple pulls off of it. And he was like, so you telling me, he was like, you want to tell me why you packing? And Tommy just basically looked and he was like, all right, cool. So he was like, so Tommy asked him, your old man raised you? He said, yep, 24/7. So Tommy's like, wow. And then, basically he's asking, is there more of us? And Tommy was like, I don't think so, but shit, with her, who knows? So he was like, basically asking Tommy, like, is there any details you want to tell me about Catherine? And Tommy says, first of all, she ain't no damn royalty, okay? Ain't no Catherine, it's Kate. And trust me, you got the better end of the deal. She was trash, okay? And he was like, is that enough details? And basically, the guy, I don't even know what his name was yet. I'm sorry, y'all. I'll learn it. But he tells him, no, yeah, he's good. And so, Tommy is basically like, why don't you give me your number and I'll call you or some shit once I get settled and, wrap my head around all of this or whatever. And he tells him, okay, cool, yeah. And he basically writes his number down on a piece of paper for Tommy. And I'm just like, what? Kate? And he basically says, all I know is that her name is Kate. And he was like, she has a white son who stays with her. And she's not dead. And then Tommy says, she's dead to me. And I said, whoa, baby. So she done lied to him about his grandmother being dead. And then tell him he had a brother. Ain't that some mess? So, anyway, then you had, Tommy basically driving down, the street. And all of a sudden, Flynn's people start, no, I'm sorry. Before that even happened, while they were still in the barbershop, his brother had told him he needed to make a quick run for him to stay there. And some cop comes in the barbershop and is basically like, oh, you the owner now, you work here. He sees that the person had like a gun on them and was asking questions, being funny, like, so how long you been here and where you coming from? I never noticed you before. And he's telling the guy like, oh, I've been around, I've been all over, I was traveling. And so then when he went to answer his cell phone, because Samson looked like he was ready to pull a knife and set it on dude. But when he went to answer his cell phone, he seen the badge and realized it was a cop. So he had to put his hand away from that damn knife, okay? And as the guy get up after he finished with his phone call, he basically was like, well, maybe I'll come in another day for a cut. And Samson was telling him, yeah, that's cool, and that he would give it to him on the house. And he was like, thanks, but no thanks. I don't take handouts. I always pay for everything that I get. And he basically leaves. So we already know, he going to be watching Samson. And he basically was telling him, welcome back. So he already knew who he was. And then, Tommy basically was stopping to get gas. At one point, he had threw out the number that the brother gave to him. But then he was like, damn it. And went back and took it back out the trash. And so then we got to the part where Flynn's family was basically surrounding him in their cars on the road or whatever have you. They was all, blocking him in, basically pushing him to pull over. Once he pulls over, the other guy got in the car with Tommy and was like, drive. And they brung him to the Flynn house where the father was at to meet him. And the father basically was telling him this whole long story about cows. And Tommy was like, can we get down to business? I don't know why the hell I'm hearing about cows and what this got to do with anything. But if you want to thank me for saving your son, you welcome for that. And Tommy basically throws the bag of money at him that he had basically took from the, storage place that night. And so then, when his son walks up, he's picking up the money. And the guy tells him, I think it's best that you leave Chicago. Say goodbye. Because he was asking him how long he was going to stay. And Tommy basically was like, well, I don't have no time limit. And he told him something about, time and money is stuff that you could run out of. And he was like, your time is up. You basically need to get your behind up out of Chicago. So we see Tommy leave and we see him driving away. But then when the guy calls him back again and was like, yo, you still ain't get here and I'm your boss and talking all this mess, Tommy basically tells the guy, you know what, I ain't got no boss, I'm my own boss and I'm about to stay here and I'm about to take over and run things, so I don't need you no more, okay? Basically toodaloo goodbye and throws the damn phone out the window. So this is the beginning of us seeing Tommy starting his adventures in Chicago and coming here to start a whole big ass mess, y'all. So I'm here for it. I'm looking forward to what the rest of the season is going to bring. I thought that was okay for a first episode introduction. What do y'all guys think? Are you excited about it? Where do you think this is going to go? Can Tommy handle this okay? Because he about to get into in the middle of a big mess. Let me know in the comments. Tell me all of y'all input and what you liked, what you didn't like, what you looking forward to, and all that good stuff. Put it all in the comments. Like, share, subscribe. Till next time, toodaloo.